In the early generations of home consoles, the primary goal of almost every developer was to create as close of an arcade experience as they possibly could. In this episode of Failed Innovation, I want to take a look at Capcom's answer to the home arcade question. So join me, and let's look back at the Capcom Power System Changer. In the glory days of arcade gaming, there was one universal truth. No home console port was ever as good as its arcade counterpart. As a matter of fact, whichever home version more closely resembled the arcade rendition, more than often sold most. This was a huge marketing target for the consoles of this era. Arcade games were the measuring stick for how good a home port should be. For Capcom, a company whose arcade cabinets were among the most successful, they felt they could get a leg up on the home console market by legitly bringing their arcade games to people's living rooms. Although a far-fetched idea, it was very feasible in Capcom's case. Every developing arcade manufacturer had different ways of running software on their cabinets. For Capcom, they created the CPS system. The CP system was an arcade system board that ran software stored on removable ROM cartridges. Capcom created this board so that cabinets could be used to run multiple games, reducing hardware cost, and making their arcade units more appealing to arcade operators. Another company that used similar technology was longtime rival SNK, who figured out a way to bring their ROM cartridges to a home audience with the Neo Geo AES. Capcom felt they could improve upon this concept, and in 1994, the Capcom Power System Changer was born. The Power System Changer, or CPS Changer for short, was not only Capcom's answer to the Neo Geo, but also a foot into the home console market. The console was basically an adapter that plugged onto CPS ROM cards and allowed the user to play Capcom arcade titles on their home television sets. The system was compatible with nearly all Capcom arcade titles, and as a way to cut production costs, instead of developing a proprietary controller, Capcom made the unit compatible with the CPS Fighter, an arcade stick developed for the Super Famicom. As a result of this, people were actually able to use a Super Nintendo gamepad controller on the CPS Changer. The system came bundled with one CPS Fighter and a Super Street Fighter II Turbo game, all for 39,800 yen, roughly $395 US, more than $200 cheaper than competitor Neo Geo. However, similar to the Neo Geo, the system's main audience stood a pretty niche market. The last game made for the system was Super Street Fighter Zero in 1996. No games were made after. The CPS Changer did in fact bring Capcom arcade games to people's living rooms, but in the end, lacked the essence of what made home consoles great. The variety of playing a multitude of games made by multiple developers. In the end, the consumer appreciated this more than replicating the arcade experience. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.